Salutations everyone, and welcome to What Mattered, the show where I tell you what mattered in the news this week. We got so much to talk about with E3, but I sifted through all of it and I'm only going to talk to you about what mattered. So this year's E3 was huge. So many huge announcements, super surprising announcements, just all kinds of just fantastic content and things to talk about and watch and listen and speculate and wait about. But it was amazing. One of the best E3s that I can remember. Easily in the last 5-6 years, the best E3. We got, current gen, finally, the producers and the developers have been worked out the hardware. We got so many things that we get to look forward to. Now, when people always talk about these things, they like to talk about who won E3. I'll tell you who won E3. I won E3, you won E3, you won E3, you won E3. Everybody won E3 except for our wallets. They got hit hard. It's just gonna get worse for you, buddy. It's just gonna get worse for you. So we're gonna go fast and get into everything that we need to talk about. So Nintendo came out and they were all like, oh, look at all this stuff we got. We got this DS stuff. We got these amiibos coming out. Mii Fighters are coming out. We got Animal Crossing's nonsense. Everyone was like, come on, Metroid Prime. And they got Metroid Prime! But it's a kindergarten version on the 3DS that no one's gonna care about, and everyone was disappointed. And then Reggie Fils-Aimé was all like, my body is ready. And then Hungry Box was like, fuck your shit. And he was all like, blah, 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 blah. Kring! And it was like, oh, my boy Hungry Box dough. And then they were all like, Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out December 4th. And it was like, I mean, it's already out in Japan. Sorry, man. We're gonna have to wait till December. And then they showed us Star Fox, and it was like, oh, Star Fox, hey, he's finally here. We didn't get one the last gen, and this one's like, it's like a reimagining, like an alternate take. It's not a remake, it's not a sequel, it's not a prequel. It's a reimagining of Star Fox 64. So, basically, kind of like Mario games. You'll be going through similar worlds, fighting the same bosses, but in different ways, with different tools, with, other new things to shoot and kill. Unlike Mario, and that looked really cool. They had the Arwing transform like it did in Star Fox 2. That's the first time I've ever seen a video game pay homage to a game that got canceled and was never released. But that looked really awesome. I was super psyched about that. But everyone was like, oh man, Nintendo sucked because they didn't announce Super Mario Sunshine HD or Mother 3 coming out. It's like, why does everyone only care about remakes and re-releases? Because one of the biggest announcements came out of Sony in that Final Fantasy VII is getting a remake. It was like, oh my gosh, the biggest game of E3 is a game we've already played. So, it is, of course, once again, a reimagining. It's not a shot-for-shot remake, but it's still Final Fantasy VII. They've been working on it for 10 years. Now we're finally going to get it. Eventually, a lot of people were super excited. I might play it myself, even though I've never played a Final Fantasy before in my time, but this is like the crown jewel, so might be a good place to start. Otherwise, it's like, that's really the most things people are excited about. And then they were all like, remember when we announced The Last Guardian 6 years ago? E3 was going to come out on PlayStation 3, and then it just never came out, and everyone had just assumed it was going to go away, but everyone was like, we still want it. Everyone was blown out of the water because they're like, yeah, Last Guardian's still a thing that's happening. PlayStation 3 couldn't handle our vision. PlayStation 4, yeah, it's finally strong enough, and people like super excited, looks super awesome and cool, and people are just going to fall in love with that. The makers Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and just look like more of the same amazingness, except this current generation. And then Square Enix came out and that guy trolled us for like 15 minutes before actually finally showing us Kingdom Hearts 3, and it looks amazing, so like different, like Tangled's in it, which like I'm personally a fan of and I can't wait for, and like all these new moves, and just like the guns, he turns the Keyblade into 2 guns, he starts shooting, it's like, and then they said that we're working on it. It's like, yeah, you told us that 2 years ago. No release year, let alone window, so most people probably expecting it to come out next year at the earliest. Definitely not this year. Probably next year, maybe in 2 years, but they told us now in development 2 years ago, and now it's 2 years later and they're like, now in development. But here's a, a trailer, Tangled and stuff, so cool, but I want it now. Now, I know I made a lot of very bold predictions about what was going to happen in E3, but one that I didn't even think was, even feasible actually happened. Xbox One is going backwards compatibility. I didn't think that was possible. Heck, they didn't even think it was possible until they figured it out. You're gonna get to be able, this is how it's gonna work. You'll be able to get your 360 discs, put it in your Xbox One, it will download Xbox One friendly version through an emulator. It will run off of the 360 dashboard, your 360 friends list. You will be able to play on your Xbox One on 360 games with people who are playing on the 360. So it will be compatible that way, so if the game is supported. There are 22 games that are supported right now that the Xbox early beta tester, whatever you call them, are fiddling around with right now. It's going to be coming out this holiday season. December, it's going to be coming out. It'll support, they say, 100 titles by then. There's a vote going on of what games they want backwards compatibility to be available. A lot of people really want Red Dead and this COD. Mass Effect 3, that's what we need. We need Mass Effect 3, multiplayer, cross-generation. That'll be awesome, especially on the new controllers. And oh my god, the new controller! So I think the thing I was most psyched about was the finally getting the announcement of the Xbox One Elite controller. They said over a year ago that they were going to release a competitive controller, a new, better, expensive controller with all kinds of stuff, and boy did it deliver. You can swap out the analog sticks on the fly with magnets. They have this super cool like circle D-pad thing that's going to make fighting games so much easier on the thumbs. You got the hair triggers to make you able to rapid fire faster. You got the 4 paddles on the back, which look very smooth and nice and not as easily breakable as third-party controllers that we've been trying to be using for the past 3 years on the 360. And it just looks, well, they got the rubberized, texturized grips, and it's going to be $150 coming out in October. And it's like, oh, $150. That seems like a lot for a controller. Yes, but it's going to be worth it for people like me. Just thinking about is replacing your keyboard and your mouse. $150, and that's not asking for too much. Replacing your Xbox One controller, and that's going to be worth it for me if you're playing games like Halo when that comes out in October, Call of Duty when that comes out in November, Mass Effect Armada, which is going to be coming out next holiday season. And not to be outdone in the controller business, Scuff announced their new Xbox One competitive controller that will be released early Q3 or end of summer. That'll be $120, which also has on-the-fly analog stick switcheroos with a little tool that they have. Also, therefore, programmable dongles on the back, and you know, their grip and all that stuff. So that'll be $30 cheaper, and it comes out sooner. But the Xbox One is going to be made by Microsoft, higher quality materials. You don't have to worry about, you know, weird customer service issues as much. So, you know, we'll see. I mean, the Scuff one's going to come out first, so we'll be able to, you know, gauge on how good that one is, and then the Pro controller, the Elite controller will come out, and we'll be able to gauge on how that is, maybe compare the two. Someone will do it for us, but either ways, I'm getting a new controller, because I need those dongles on the back to make myself do all the cool things, and it's also going to help, you know, disabled people, at least the Pro Elite controller will, because you can remap any button to anything, as well as the 4 dongles. So for, you know, handicapped gamers out there, this is finally a controller for you. You don't have to worry about the game having those settings in-game for you. The controller will be able to do all that for you, and that's just super duper cool. Tom Clancy's The Division will be released in 2016, so we have to wait even further, but a beta for the Xbox One will be available sometime in December. They don't say how you're going to get the beta, if you have to pre-order, is it going to be an open beta, a closed beta, but it's going to be on the Xbox One first, if not the only platform it's on, but 2016 is when the game comes out. So the worst kept secret for Microsoft was officially announced in the Gears of War Ultimate Edition. It will be launching August 25th. They have the week-long beta for the multiplayer that's up. I downloaded it, I played it, looks really nice, handles nice, really, really cool, looking forward to that, as well as the official and first ever evidence of Gears of War 4. They showed some early stuff, and it looks really, really cool graphically. We don't know where it's taking place in the timeline, who these characters are, what they're fighting. They don't look like Locust, but they look like COG soldiers, so it's just like, I am super excited for that, because Gears of War. Ghost Recon Wildlands was announced, an open world 4-player co-op current generation console. It looked really, really nice. Like, there's like so many possibilities. It looks and feels like a Ghost Recon game. It's an open world, up to 4-player co-op, third person / first person shooter, because they would switch to the first person when they would aim down sights most of the time. and it looks like just really, really cool, some really, really awesome fun. This looks like a huge step forward in the current generation of gaming, as well as just gaming overall. It looks like it has a lot of potential. And of course, we can't forget all the Star Wars stuff, especially Battlefront. We saw a lot of footage. We saw the new game mode. It looks glorious. It looks like, you know how when you think back on a game and then you play it, and it's like, that's not how I remembered it, or you look at some footage and like, I remember it being better. What this Battlefront is like how I remember the old Battlefronts in feel, in movement, in the epicness, in how engrossed it was in the Star Wars universe. It looks absolutely perfect and gorgeous, make you feel like you're part of this large-scale battle. They announced that the hero things are returning. Also new game modes, and just it looks awesome and great, and I can't wait to play it, because then we showed the vehicles and the flying, the ATs and the snow speeders and the Hoths and the lightsabers. It's so cool. One of the most impressive things though was the live demo of Uncharted 4. It looked fantastic. This is what a console seller is, people. It's going to be the main reason I buy a PlayStation 4 when that comes out. I mean, I'm probably going to get it for the trilogy when that comes out, because it got the multiplayer beta for Uncharted 4, but it looked amazing. If you've been playing video games for a long time, especially in this genre, you had to have been impressed about the things that they were able to pull off in this game, in a live demo, mind you, that other games have struggled to do for such a long time. In the movement and transitions between scenes, and driving, and escaping, and high-speed, you know, on-rail-esque chase scenes is just something that so many other games have tried to do and have limited to some success. This just knocked it out of the frackin' park. It looked amazing graphically. The engine just ran so smoothly and did so many things that so many other games have struggled to do in this scope and epicness, and it just completely delivered. EA's conference started off with the Mass Effect Armada teaser trailer. We didn't get much out of it at all, but we got the two things that we could at least expect and hope for. We got the new title, Mass Effect Andromeda, which takes place in the Andromeda Galaxy, which all the leaks were pointing to, and we got a release window in, you know, holiday 2016. BioWare's usually pretty good on keeping to their prospective release dates, so hopefully it doesn't get pushed to 2017, but Mass Effect Andromeda, we're still playing a human. Still looks like an N7 soldier. There was a lot of like, we'll talk more about this later, and they said at the end of the year is the next time we're going to get any information on Andromeda. I mean, come on, Mass Effect, that's my jam. That's the thing I was most looking forward to. We got the name, and we got the release window. We didn't get much information. We know it's in Andromeda Galaxy, so we can only assume that more of that leak was, you know, was pretty legit. But I mean, long ways away, so hopefully I can max out my manifest and ME3 multiplayer by then. That was what mattered for E3 year 2015. Hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment on any of the things that I mentioned or didn't mention. What are you most excited about for this year or for next year? And I will see you guys next time.